Nu är det åter dags för programpunkten Queers of the World, en YouTube-kanal skapad av Fanny Oliver, där hen publicerar intressanta intervjuer om hbtq-personer.
My name is Fanny Oliver and I'm the transgender person who runs the YouTube channel Queers of the World, where I make short videos about LGBTQIA+ people. Through this channel I've met so many inspiring and amazing people who have been boldly sharing their stories with me and with the world. And here's a little taste of that.
My name is Stellan. I am genderqueer and gay.
My name is Felix. My pronouns are he, him. And I am a 27-year-old trans man.
I have been out as a non-binary person for a couple of years now.
I go by they, them. I've always kind of felt that way, but when I was a child, I was in this group that was kind of secluded and shut everything out, so I couldn't, take part in that to, explore my identity, really.
I'm Jesse. I'm 20 years old. I'm originally from America, Modesto, California, specifically. I am a non-binary and I am demi-pansexual.
Within the LGBTQIA+ community, I would say I'm somewhere right in there, but I don't want to define myself to one or several of the letters of the community because I think it's very limiting. It puts certain expectations on me, or perhaps as well it makes others expect a certain thing from me or about me, both in a positive and in a negative way. So I choose to say that I am part of the LGBTQ community, or I have the rainbow flag outside my house, but I don't want to define my sexuality or my gender in a direct way.
I've always felt like I wasn't really part of the gender that I was assigned, but I tried to always identify as a girl growing up. But at the same time, like even my parents would tell me that I was a tomboy, or they were like, don't be such a tomboy. And they named me Kim. I haven't even switched my name. They named me Kim and then they're surprised when I come out as non-binary. What did they expect?
Well, I knew from a very, very young age that something was off. I know that's very typical for trans people to say, I knew something was wrong. But I remember when I was 5 or 6 that I realized that my name didn't feel like my name.
Genderqueer is that feeling of not belonging in any of the preset boxes, gender boxes, and genderqueer is perfect because it is the other, the constant other, meaning that I am not. Whatever box you're trying to fit me into, I don't feel right in that box because it has connotations, and it's the constant nope.
Demisexual is when you get a physical connection with someone and an emotional and sexual connection with someone after you have a deep emotional connection with them. That is that part of it. And then pansexual is just, I don't care about the gender of the person, I don't care about the physical aspect of them, as long as I love the person, I can be involved with them.
They have told me personal stories of how they came to understand and accept that they were queer.
I came across a blog that was run by a trans guy and everything just clicked. I realized the things he was describing in his blog were things that I had always felt, but I had never known what those feelings meant.
This was when I was 17, and I remember thinking, I never fall in love with any boys. Maybe I like girls instead.
When I was little, I was very interested about girls. I went to a website. I was like, oh, what happened if I press www.89.com? Because this is my birth year, and a site comes up like this, and there was in the left column there were a lot of names, and I scroll down and I find one name, and of course this was a porno And I didn't know because I was only 12 years old, and I see this beautiful woman, and I had so big crush on this woman, you know.
I had been questioning my gender identity and sort of dreaming away to alternate realities and alternate futures of myself as a different gender since the start of my adolescence and my teenage years. It was mostly then a sort of pipe dream, like what if I was a different gender? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be just dandy?
They've told me funny stories from their journey.
Then I was like, okay, I want to do something drastic because my coming out wasn't like dramatic because everyone was so cool with it. So I felt like I need to do something dramatic. So I chopped off my hair, not completely, but way short. That was like the beginning of my new person, I thought. And well, I loved having short hair, but now, like 5 years later, I realized that at the moment I want to have long hair and my sexuality is not in my hair. I think I had an idea of how a lesbian person is supposed to be and what they're supposed to like and look like and stuff. And as a lesbian, you need to have short hair. So I got short hair and then I realized, cool, but a lesbian can also have long hair. So now I'm growing out my hair and I'm just as much lesbian.
But also stories of when they've met resistance or when they've struggled for other reasons. Like Finn when he was pregnant with his child.
I had a huge dysphoria, even if I really wanted this. I really suffered when my body changed it a lot. The most thing I was struggling with was my chest, that I couldn't wear a binder, I couldn't hide this part of my body as I used to. So that was really something that bothered me, because being pregnant and motherhood is so closely connected that for most people it's the same thing.
For me, being a black queer person has been hard. After I came out, I started going into these communities, and sometimes there would be other queer persons that say that I'm not valid as a non-binary because I'm black. It took a toll on me, because then I didn't know who am I then? And then a person told me that I am valid regardless of my skin color and where I'm from. You are valid as a non-binary person.
I have felt that I often perceive myself as being not gay enough, but then as well I'm not straight enough. I might be not cis enough, but also not trans enough. And that is something that I feel is an expectation that comes from within me, of course, because I can just be myself. Like, I am one person and I'm just myself. I think many of us have this picture inside ourselves, like, what is a gay person like? Or what is a trans person like? How does a bisexual person, how are they? And in the end, we can only lose when we put ourselves to those expectations. Because we are not a stereotypical 100% figure that is the gay person, the straight person, the trans person. We are ourselves.
And they have shared their dreams of what they want the world to look like.
I think my dream for the sports world is being more inclusive and letting people, no matter who they are, be able to engage in sports all across the world and be able to have fun and exercise. That is my dream for the sports world.
I want people to get more knowledge about the LGBTQ plus community, so they can understand more of how we are going through.
We need to rethink the spaces themselves, how we teach, how we work, and how we think we are allowed to dance. But also so we can create a space where everyone, regardless of who they are, can play, can experiment, can explore their own identity and their own expression through dance.
It's so important that the people within the queer community and the LGBTQ community, that they open up their mind again and think about that being yourself in the end is the most important thing, and that when we create so many labels and expectations to these labels to fulfill, that in the end we don't create a unity within this community, but again we create conflict and gatekeeping. It's so important that we take a step back before we judge somebody because we don't understand their identity. Maybe it's a new thing, there's teenagers that come up with new things all the time, they identify as whatever and say this is my sexuality, and you've never heard about it, and then your first impulse is to say, oh my god, that's such a bullshit, that doesn't even exist. But within that you become that older generation that can't accept people like you once were a teenager and you had your parents saying, what, that's not a thing. Just stop being that older generation that gatekeeps younger people from reinventing words and from coming up with new concepts of who they are.
I am so grateful to these and many more people that they've let me film them and that they have shared their stories and their wisdom with me and with the world. I think that the world can only be a better place if we love each other. And I think we can only love each other if we understand each other. And I think that we can only understand each other by listening to each other. So I think that these people, by sharing their stories, have contributed to making this world a better place.